All right, okay, Hailey is back, okay, and not only is she back, she's woken up, but she's come back with a bang, okay, so some big news concerning Miss Hailey Welch. So, what's happened? It's very simple. Essentially, there was on the Hawk Tuah podcast, there was a little leak of her episode number 14 with Faze Banks, okay, who is like a bit of a crypto expert. He runs Faze. Looks like a pretty cool guy. So, Faze Banks brought two crypto guys onto the show, and they kind of discussed the controversy with Hailey. They discussed where they went wrong, where she went right, all the kind of things that happened, okay? And it was all right. It was an all right episode, but it was leaked. So, before we get into the kind of major new problem, we're just going to do a slight little recap so everyone's on the same page, okay? We want to be on the same page here. Basically, in December, I think it was December, she launched the Hawk coin, okay, whatever it was. It was like a meme coin, essentially. And people put a bunch of money into it, and it crashed, and people lost tons of money. It was poorly done. It was just like a complete flop. Looked like a scam. It was a scam. Allegedly, I don't want to get sued. Sorry. Allegedly a scam. And basically, she put out this tweet saying that she knows a lot of people who lost money. Please contact this law firm. And then she's going to bed. She hasn't come back since. So the joke online is she's been sleeping all this time. But she's woken up. She's back. We are getting new news. So, in this secret episode 14 that was kind of leaked and now has been deleted from her page, we saw a few things. Okay, first of all, the episode starts with Hailey saying that she's trying to sort it out, essentially, right? It was just a small little clip. She's saying she's trying to sort it out.
I want to start by saying thank you to all my true fans and all the people that actually watch my stuff and they keep up with me. We're trying to sort out all the pieces and stuff to like get all this figured out and make everything right. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
No, don't cry. Don't cry. Everything's gonna be good. We're gonna be good.
And then we get Faze Banks introducing himself and kind of saying that his team is going through it. He's big in the crypto market. He has a lot of people. He has a lot of friends that he kind of actually lives with who are experts in the field. And they're doing a lot of the background vetting, making sure what the coin is, where she went wrong, and all that kind of stuff. And they basically come together on this podcast to present their findings, which is really cool. So
I'm also kind of on the back end of things too. Like their team's been very forthcoming. My team is vetting them the fuck out right now and has been for the last week. Thread Guy and Frank, they're going to be on this episode. It's such a weird blend and mash of worlds. No,
it rolled out.
Don't cry, Hailey. It's fine. It's all going to be okay. Life is going to be okay. Oh, Hailey, no.
Oh, don't do that. Don't stare at me.
No.
Okay, so they actually start with the whole thing, like how Hailey got involved in the crypto scene, which is actually kind of an important little bit, and it's interesting as well. I did not know any of this. Hailey explains it was brought to her as a way to make crypto safe. Like it was presented to her in a way saying, you know, guys, we're going to make it like a safe place for your community to bring everyone together. And she describes it as being presented as a long-term coin. Okay, I don't know what that means. I don't know how you didn't know it was a meme coin, because your whole platform was based on a meme, right? Like, I don't know what's going on here. But yes, essentially, it was all presented to be lovely jubbly and really happy and wonderful, and nothing could ever go wrong. And yeah.
Well, so basically how this idea got brought to me, it was supposed to be like what do they call it, a long-term coin. And the guy that ran the account, he was like, oh, we're going to change like the way everybody thinks of crypto. Crypto is going to be a good place. And I feel really bad for all the people that got affected by it, and it just didn't go the way I planned.
She then also tells us that the person who brought to her the coin was someone who was kind of trusted. Like, they had a little bit of background. And Faze Banks even says this. He kind of says it himself. He's like, oh yeah, who's well known in the LA scene. And I'm like, okay, well, obviously the LA people are not known for doing anything shady or bad or illegal anytime. But of course, we'll go with it. She had cred. She had street cred. So Hailey was like, right, it's good.
So
Explain.
This idea got brought to me like months ago, and I was kind of, I don't want to do that. I don't know anything about it, and I've never heard the space is a good place to be. So I was like, I don't know about it, which we trusted the guy that come to us. He was a friend of, I don't know, a friend of a friend, I guess you can put him. That was my biggest mistake.
Yeah,
I probably should have looked into him.
We heard a little bit about him. Apparently he had like a pretty strong network in LA and kind of used that as leverage to, you know, give himself a vouch. And I think the guy probably more or less overstated his qualifications in executing something like this. Fair to say?
Yes.
Which is usually the case.
Yeah, that's 99% of the time.
Now, on the day of the launch, I wasn't actually there, but this is apparently what happened because they kind of speak about it a little bit. And they say that Hailey went online and she kind of did this presentation in front of everyone, explained what the coin was. And Faze Banks was actually on that call and asked questions to this guy from the company who was developing the coin, right? And that guy could not answer a lot of questions, which immediately, when the expert doesn't know what he's talking about, he's probably not an expert. So threw up some red flags for everyone, especially Faze Banks, like he said that. And then CoffeeZilla also got on the scene and he was asking very probing questions. Hailey was very adamant in this podcast that she does not like CoffeeZilla at all.
We finished a podcast that day, and then I ended up going in that room over there to get on that live where I was like scripted to say this, that, and the other, but put it in my own words. So I done that, and then that's when you got on and you were asking him questions and he couldn't answer them. So I was like, okay, something's wrong. He can't answer a simple question. And then CoffeeZilla got on there. Scary guy, let me tell you. Don't ever want to have a conversation with him.
Now, although she felt kind of uneasy about the whole thing and like, oh, wow, the expert actually doesn't know what he's on about, she kind of still went along with it because essentially it was a dev launch. And also she'd been promised kind of a lot of money towards charity. She was promised that a lot of money would go towards her charity. I don't know what her charity does, but charity is normally a good thing, right? And she seems somewhat like oblivious to the whole thing, essentially. She didn't really look into it or care. She just stamped her name on it and presented it and read off a script.
Well, so that's how it got brought to me. It was supposed to be done the right way. Like, it was going to be good. Like, half the money, it was supposed to go, like, into my charity. That's really why I agreed to do it. Just for the simple fact, putting money into that. It was a way to, like, get all my community gathered up together. It was just, I don't know. It was brought to me in, like, a positive way. Like, it was going to be something good and long-term, but it didn't go that route at all.
Now, Faze Banks tries to kind of dig in a little bit more and see what the case is, what actually happened, what were the terms of the agreement. And Hailey actually has no clue, so she defers to her lawyer. Her lawyer in the whole episode is just sitting behind the camera. He does give his name, which is actually quite nice because he's not this total anonymous freak who's just, like, in the background pulling the strings. But anyway, her lawyer says it's something called like a brand image likeness deal. Now, personally, I have never done that. I have never had anyone contact me about any sponsorships. I make no money from this. And so I actually have no idea what the kind of deal is. So if anyone at all knows what's going on here, what that means, please explain in the comment. I'll pin the comment or like it, whatever. I'll make sure everyone can see basically, all right? But anyway, Hailey's lawyer got on and explained the terms of the deal, okay? Because this brand likeness deal, Hailey essentially got money up front, okay? Now, her lawyer admits that she got $125,000 before the coin even launched on launch day, okay? So she just got $125K in the bank, paid in straight away. Now, the second part of that deal was that 30 days after the launch, she was going to be paid another $200,000. Now, she has not received this. They don't really go into the episode. In the episode, they don't go into too much depth, but they kind of mention the fact that she has not received that last $200,000, okay? So Hailey Welch is $125,000 up on this project.
Did they offer you money up front? This is what I think the internet always wants to know is like, do they offer you money up front, part of the tokens? Like, how did that work? Like,
so the deal, I can speak to that. So the deal that she did was like a brand image likeness deal where they paid her $125,000 up front. They were supposed to pay her $200,000 after the launch of the coin within 30 days.
And I'm going to summarize what he said because what he was his way of putting it was very kind of convoluted and just took a long time. And I haven't got the time for that. Neither do you. So I'm going to summarize everything that he said. All right. So the breakdown is pretty easy if you follow along with me here, right? So try and follow along with me. 10% of the coins were allocated for Hailey and for the company who made the coin, okay? And they would be split 50-50. So Hailey was meant to get 5% and the company would get the other 5%. Now, those combined 10% were meant to be locked down for 3 years, okay? So Hailey really did think this was going to be a long-term coin thing because she was going to like essentially get cashed out at the end of 3 years when apparently the price was meant to be more stable or whatever. I have no idea what she thought. But essentially, she can't touch her 5% for 3 years. 3 years. So then essentially that leaves you with 90%. So out of that 90%, 3% more was made available for public trading on the day of launch. Okay, so people could buy, people could sell, people could stake. I have no idea what people do with the crypto, but they could use it, trade it, do whatever they want with it. Okay, 3% of the total thing. So that accounts for 13% of the total store of the coin. And to be honest, this so far, as from what I can tell, this is actually kind of a normal way of doing it. Like this is nothing shady so far when it comes to meme coins or just coins in general. You know, normally the people who make it or present it or advertise it, they have a larger stake, and then everything else is meant to be for the people who want to buy it and trust it and whatever. Now, here's where it gets shady though, okay? And let me tell you, this gets pretty damn shady. So, 17% of the coins were allocated to investors on pre-sales, okay? So, there were investors, and these were not like public people like you and me, just average Joes or you know, anyone else. These were specific people with a lot of money who wanted to put a backing into this. So they essentially got early access to the coin, able to buy it very cheap and hold it before everyone else got access to it, okay? And that 17%, the 17% of all the coins sold for about $2.8 million, okay? This is insane, okay? The huge amount of money, $2.8 million, right? Nearly $3 million was already put into this project before anyone else had access to this, okay? So there was funding. There was a good amount of funding in this. However, here's the problem. You can't control what the initial investors are going to do with their coins, okay? You can't control whether they're going to sell as soon as possible or buy more as soon as possible or just like lock it up and burn it. I have no idea, whatever. You can't control them. And this is where the problem was, okay? So, day of launch comes around. Hailey's 5% locked up. Company's 5% are locked up. 17% is sitting with some people who the lawyer said were mainly in Asia. You can take what you want from that.
What was the pre-sale structure exactly?
I'm not certain to the structure of the pre-sale. There was a 17% allocation. Most of the pre-sale investors, my understanding is, were based in Asia.
Okay.
And there was, again, supposed to be a 1 month lock with a 1 year drip after that.
And how much was raised for that 17%?
2.8 million.
But anyway, 17% is sitting on day of launch in wallets, ready to be traded, sold, bought, whatever. And it turns out that's pretty much what happened. Because you have no control of what these 17% did, they could fluctuate the price by any action they took. And that's basically what happened. So, day of launch hits. Boom. 2/3 of that 17% sell instantly, tanking the price. Bang to the floor. Okay, so if you're following me, essentially 2/3 of 17 is almost 12%. And so essentially the market went from being 3% of supply and added another 3 times that, added another 12%. Okay, so that flooded the market with coins. Essentially, more products, lower price. So the price dropped. It sunk. It went through the floor. People lost money like they could not believe. It was insane. Now, what did that leave? That essentially left 20% of the product in circulation, okay? So even though that one last third didn't sell, it's still in circulation because people can still trade it and hold it and do whatever. So 10% locks away, 20% floating around in the ether. That means the rest of the money, where is it? The rest of the 70%, if you're keeping up, where are those coins? What are they doing? Are they just in the ether? Do they exist? Yes, they do exist. And this is the next level of shadiness, okay? We just crawled through the base layer, okay? I want you to imagine this like the house lights have been turned off and you're kind of navigating a little bit. And then what we're doing now is we're going to the next level of darkness, the next level of shadiness, okay? We're opening the door to our house and we're walking outside into the pitch black night. This is more shady than the original shadiness. The last 70% or 80%, in the episode they say 80%, but I don't really know how that could be possible because just the 30, whatever. They say that rest of the percentage is controlled by the dev. So essentially the builder.
80% of the supply is still in control. The dev still controls 80%.
And who are they?
I do not know who the dev is. That was never disclosed to us. All I know is it's a gentleman that's...
So see, the problem with the developing side of like projects like these and products like these is they can do whatever the fuck they want, right? Like,
so don't get confused, okay? Please don't get confused. Let me break it down a little bit more. Let me break down my breakdown, okay? So you have Hailey, who has 5% that she can't touch until 3 years from now. You have the company that Hailey is working with this coin, who gets the other 10% in also 3 years' time. You have the market, who also have 20% access to the coin. Everything else, the remaining 30%, is controlled by the one guy, the dev, the developer, who apparently is anonymous. He's sitting in San Francisco, and no one knows who this man is. This is the insane bit, guys. No one knows who he is. The lawyer doesn't know, the company doesn't know, no one has a clue. So there is this guy sitting with like 70 to 80% of the tokens, all this money potentially, just by himself. No, nothing has come of it. Nothing bad's happened to him. He just sits in San Francisco holding this massive amount of coins that he controls. Now, Hailey's lawyer in the episode does say they don't know who this guy is. They can't get a hold of him. They don't know. They know he's in San Francisco, which kind of makes Faze Banks a bit more optimistic because at least he's not overseas, so they can kind of maybe work something out. I don't know.
So who has that? The 80%.
The dev.
What is
they
dev?
control The 80%. The developer.
Based out of where?
Based out of San Francisco. It's one guy based in San Francisco. Is my knowledge.
Well, that's better than China.
I don't know who. We don't have a name as to who that is, but the dev is hired by the company that she did the deal with.
Just as far as, by the way, just as far as access goes, San Francisco's up the street.
Okay.
The language barrier, China. Yeah, it's okay.
Understood.
But essentially, the coin was hijacked by this one developer. Now, the developer worked for the company, but as far as I can tell, the company and the developer don't talk anymore or something like that. Essentially, they can't figure it out. This guy remains anonymous, remains holding most of the money, and we don't know what to do about it. They have no idea what to do about it. And I'm afraid that's kind of where the news ends. Like, there's not much more to this story, okay? Hailey has got, no control over this situation. It's completely run out of her control. Her whole team has no idea what to do. The lawyer keeps asking Faze Banks for advice because apparently the lawyer doesn't know what to do, which is not what you hire a lawyer for. He's meant to know what's going on. And so, the companies that Hailey was working with has got no clue either. And there's this one guy with 80% of the tokens that he's just sitting around. Okay, so where does Hailey go from here? And that's what they spent the last half of the episode discussing, all right? Now, the resolution to this whole thing is really kind of boring. They kind of spend the last half of the episode talking about it. Faze Banks guys basically suggest that she takes the initial payout, which was $125,000, and just buys as many coins with that as possible and then doesn't touch it, essentially to drive the price up for everyone else. Now, after driving the price up for everyone else, she just makes a community post, Twitter, video, whatever. She just says, okay, guys, I'm leaving it there. I've made no profit from this thing, and I'm just going to leave it. It's up to you. If you want to invest, you invest. If you don't want to invest, you don't invest. I'm leaving.
We were talking about, I think if you took all the money that you made from the deal, whatever, and just bought back the coin and then locked it up, I feel like that's a very clear action that you can make, back to the community. And I think that would just stamp it and the community can run with it. So that's the idea that we were talking about.
As far as narrative goes and a gesture, I mean, you just fucking nailed that, by the way. And that would, you mentioned it earlier, 125,000 plus 100,000, or what did I hear?
Yeah, so
how much total money has been received due to this?
125,000 has
been received.
Yeah.
Basically what Frank just said in normal people terms is you take every dollar that you made on this and you mark it by this token and you lock it up. You walk away from it. You don't ever see that money. You can never touch it again. And you say, maybe I'm not going to talk about this every day, whatever, but I'm going to stand on business. I put my face on this. I'm accepting the responsibility that this happened. And hopefully, everybody is made whole at some point where you guys do what you want with this at this point. This is me kind of you know what I mean? And what that does is it kind of shows your intentions, right? I just want to do right by this and everybody who participated in this, etc.
And that's the best solution they can do, because apparently that's it. That's what they say. That's the advice they give. And I don't know. I'm not into crypto that much, so I don't know if that's the best way to do it, the worst way to do it. But these guys seem to know what they're on about. So I kind of trust them. I do. I kind of trust what they're saying. So that's basically the last part of the episode. And that's the summary bit that I was going to get to with you. And now we can get into some even more fun stuff, because this might sound, I don't know, maybe you're watching this, you're thinking, okay, well, why are you discussing this? Why are you discussing? I mean, okay, it's interesting with the money and interesting that you get the payout and the ideas. The reason I'm discussing it now, okay, is because episode 14, this very episode that we're talking about, the one that I'm showing you clips from, it was not meant to be released. It's a secret non-episode she took that down. It was a leak. This is a leak. This whole thing is leaked, all right? This was up on her channel for just a little bit of time, okay? Now they've taken it down. You can't find the video on her initial thing, but it's on YouTube there. People have clipped it and you can watch it. You can watch it. Seriously, go out, try and find it if you can. Now, this has sparked another slice of controversy, okay? So, Faze Banks, like he was saying before, right at the beginning, he was saying he was vetting this whole process. And on Twitter, he was furious that the episode had come out, okay? Because the issue hadn't really been resolved. In his eyes, I don't think he was ready to come out. So, Faze Banks has a statement, and I'm going to read it. Boom, Faze Banks, absolute yap machine right here. Okay, he puts out a huge statement. and I'm going to read out as much as possible. You can skip forward if you don't want to listen to it though. So here we go. So in an attempt to hear Hailey Welches' side of crypto scam story, I agreed to do her first podcast back. I had heavy stipulations, including not allowing markets to be manipulated by leaking this episode's existence before a resolution was found. Now this obviously did not happen. So second thing, stipulation. Her team finding real solution regarding the money she made, where that should go, and what to do with the Hawk project moving forward. Okay, this whole thing sounds to me like both of those stipulations had not been met. In my opinion, allegedly, I don't know, but I'm just saying, especially the first one. My goodness. He continues. There were non-starters, and we were told this episode would only ever see light of day if we explicitly greenlit it. These incompetent, I'm not going to say that word, leaked and/or inside traded the token. We noticed a random spike in volume on the coin on the 2nd of Feb, along with the random messages asking us if we did the podcast. Very clearly, her team was not as solid as they claimed to be. They completely blew it, and we called the episode off right then and there. Now, the episode randomly gets leaked, and price of Hawk is pumping, and they completely fumble the bag yet again. What a mess. Poor girl, it's a wonder how she found herself in this position in the first place. Now, at Hailey Welch X, I'm going to speak to you directly and say the exact same thing I said to you on Spaces that night. Fire everybody. Your team's is pretty bad. I'm not going to say that, but they're pretty bad in his opinion. Then he has just a mini disclosure, and yeah, I mean, essentially, Faze Banks make it kind of very well known where he stands on the whole situation. So he's fuming. He is obviously fuming. He did not greenlight this. He doesn't think the team found a real solution. He also doesn't want the market to be manipulated, which is very good of him because then more people lose money. And, you know, he cares. It's not even his community and he cares. So, you know, Faze Banks, brownie points from me right here. Okay, I like it. Hailey Welch, for her part, has not posted anything new since her December 20th post where she talks about how you need to contact the law firm. Essentially, radio silent. Not a good look. Now, let's take a look at the pump that he was talking about. Okay, so this is the year-long trading chart. Okay, boom. Day of launch immediately drops. Okay, this is the 70% dropping their coins right initially to make a lot of money right now. To make a lot of money. Price then jumps hugely back up, but then immediately drops back down again. Essentially flatlines, looking like a dead person's monitor in the hospital. Completely flat. Tiny bit of movement, completely flat again. And that is until you move the ticker thing here from 1 year all the way to 7 days. Okay, so this is it. It's dropping again. Boom, price gets dropped again. Natural fluctuation, whatever. And then here we go. Okay, 2nd of February right here. And then immediately drops, immediately climbs again, immediately drops, climbs again. Okay, there's a bit of price action going on here. They went from 0 volume traded, okay, or $1.50 volume traded to $250 traded, $30 traded, $510 traded. Essentially, the leak is causing people to kind of sell off and then buy and sell off and buy, and they're just not sure how to respond to this news because the episode came out making kind of statements about how they would solve this problem, but the episode got taken down. People don't know how to react. Some people are pulling out. Some people are buying in. I don't know what's going on. I honestly can't tell you. But this is the controversy, and this is exactly what Faze Banks wanted to avoid, okay? Again, going back to his 2 stipulation, only 2, come on, it's not even that much, it's just 2. The first being no markets should be manipulated, essentially not done, because she manipulated markets by releasing the episode, then unreleasing it, and then of course it got leaked, because that's just the internet. Everything on the internet stays on the internet, and then also no real solution, because Hailey Welch has made no statement at all. We have no idea what she's doing. Is she buying a bunch of coins with those 125,000? Is she not? Is she touching it? Is she not touching it? She's made the situation a whole lot worse, and she's made an enemy out of Faze Banks, I assume. So that's essentially the situation. That's where I have to leave you, okay? We've explored the whole project, top to bottom. We have come through, analyzed the podcast that was taken down, the secret podcast, the leak podcast, and then the Faze Banks fallout that came from that as well, which none of it is good, okay? Really, none of it is good. So people just really need to be careful with this kind of thing. I just try and report on what's going on. I'm just trying to tell you actually what I'm seeing in real time, and because you might be interested, but I don't trade in this kind of stuff. It's not my bag, but I feel bad for everyone involved. I really do. This is a really tough piece of a place to be in. Crypto markets are notoriously volatile, and meme coins especially just going up and down. You saw that with Trump's coin. You saw that with her coin. She was like the main example of this whole thing, really. And yeah, I Personally, I'm glad I'm not in it, and I feel bad for anyone who is, okay? So that's going to be it. That's the end of the episode. That's the end of my video. Thank you very much for listening. And I hope if you enjoy me yapping onto you, then you kind of stick around for more. You subscribe, maybe give it a little like, and you go watch another video. Why not? I'm going to have one linked to the end card. And the video is going to be all about Stampy, who kind of was part of all our childhoods and the Minecraft YouTuber, and everyone loves him. Everyone knows him. He's like icon, and he just built this generation. So very cool video. Definitely go watch it if you enjoy me. If you don't, I'm sorry to hear that. But I will hopefully, very hopefully, see you soon in the next episode. Thank you and goodbye.